The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests do not state or reflect those of the movement. Sa history, marami ang nalilito kung ano ba ang tunay, ano ba ang kwento. Pakinggan natin ang mga dalubhasa. Intindihin ang kasalukuyan sa pag-aaral ng nakaraan. Tayo na't makilahok sa ating talakayan. Ito ang Historyl, ang katotohanan sa ating kasaysayan at lipunan. Good day mga katoto! Welcome na naman sa iisang episode ng Historyl, ang katotohanan sa ating kasaysayan at lipunan. Ako po muli ang inyong host si John Kevin Samson at welcome po muli sa aming local history series kung saan tatalakayin natin ang kasaysayan ng iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas kasama ng mga tao, tradisyon, gawain at mga makabuluhang pook sa mga lugar na ito.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your precious time. I am humbled that you can join me in unveiling to you a project that is dear to my heart. May I present the new capital city of the Philippines, Balintawak.
Mr. President, that's great. But it would be even greater if we can call it Quezon City.
Ang ating pong napakinggan ay isang scene mula sa pelikulang Quezon's Game ng Star Magic na pinagbidahan ni Raymond Bagatsing bilang si Manuel Quezon. Ang Quezon City ay isa sa mga lungsod sa Metro Manila, Philippines na tanyag sa kanyang napakaraming mga kapistahan at pook pasyalan. Nung isang araw lamang ay nagdiwang ang isang barangay sa Quezon City ng Pista ng Laloma o ang Lechon Festival. Isa rin itong lungsod na puno ng kasaysayan mula pa sa panahon ng mga Kastila hanggang sa kasalukuyan. Kung tutuusin, ang lungsod Quezon tulad ng ating narinig ay minsan nang naging kapitolyo ng Pilipinas. Upang tuklasin pa ang mga makasaysayang pangyayari tungkol sa pagkakatatag ng Quezon City bilang isang capital city, kasama po natin si Ginoong Jamaico Ignacio, guro sa Araling Panlipunan na may masterado sa UST at Ateneo at dating Pangulo ng High School Philippine History Movement. Magandang araw po sa inyo, sir!
Mapagpalayang araw, Kevin. I'm looking forward to this discussion. Let's do this.
Alright, let's do this. Alam mo, napaka-exciting nitong topic na to. Lalo na ako ay isang proud Q citizen, no? Born and raised in Quezon City. Alam mo, so napanood ko yung Quezon's Game, pero hindi naman yun actually more on tungkol sa pagiging capital city ng Quezon City. Pero napahapyawan. Yun nga, yun yung pinakita natin, yung napakinggan nating scene kanina na in-announce ni President Quezon dun sa scene na i-establish ang City of Balintawak, or sabi nga ng mga cabinet secretaries niya ay bakit di na lang natin tawagin Quezon City? Ang tanong ko dito, Sir Jamaico, no? Ano ba yung mga naging konsiderasyon? What have been the considerations for making Quezon City the capital city of the Philippines? From Manila, bakit ba biglang, Quezon City kaya yung gawin nating capital city?
In order to answer that, we have to understand the context of the city of Manila during that time. Okay, when the Americans came along, dumating sila at tinake over nila yung Pilipinas. What they took over was Intramuros, an area na napakasikip at yung moat niya mosquito riddled. So pwede kang magkasakit. Tapos walang maayos sa plumbing. Ngayon, we know for a fact that kind of setup is not ideal for the Americans who were by that time, economically speaking, booming already in that area of the world. So for them, medyo hindi maganda yung area ng Intramuros. Yes, they asked Daniel Burnham later on to expand the city of Manila to towards the outer rim of Intramuros. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng legislative building doon na later on naging National Museum. Nagkaroon ng Manila City Hall na may clock tower. There was a well-designed city plan for Manila afterwards. But as the Philippines transitioned from the American-controlled government towards a Filipino-controlled government under American supervision, the likes of Quezon, who by that time wanted actual independence, really wanted to establish a city na wala siya sa shadow ng mga Espanyol at ng mga Amerikano. Something akin to when he went to Washington DC, something like Washington DC. That's why when Manuel L. Quezon became president of the Commonwealth around 1935, he already had dreams of establishing a city that would more or less be befitting to that upcoming independent country that will be ruled by his government. Kaya noong the passage of Commonwealth Act number 502 in October 1939, na-establish yung Quezon City. Ang primary considerations doon, yun nga, masikip yung Manila, kahit may Burnham Plan, nasisikapan sila doon. In addition to that, nadudumihan din sila doon sa lugar na yon dahil hindi maayos yung sanitation, hindi maayos yung garbage collection during that time. There was a perception na overpopulated din yung Manila. So in order to quote-unquote decongested, they wanted to create a new city, a beautiful city for an independent Philippines. In addition to that, tumutugon din dun sa programa ni Manuel L. Quezon na magkaroon ng social justice program or libreng pabahay para sa mga ordinaryong Pilipino. Dahil dito, dun sa social justice program niya, kung saan they will provide social services to the people like free housing, na isama siya doon sa bagong idea ng Quezon City. So in order to do that, they had this concept of free housing later on sa Quezon City. Kaya dyan papasok later on yung projects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Free housing for the people. So what are the considerations? Ayaw na nila sa Manila, nadudiman sila, overpopulated daw. Quezon wanted a new city for an independent Philippines shaped under his image, under his legacy, under the social justice program of Quezon.
All right. So, out of curiosity, na nabanggit mo yung inspiration niya, yung Washington as capital of the United States kasi it was named after George Washington, definitely, di ba? So, kaya pala siya nagkaroon ng and so kailangan ng So sige, bago yung physical establishment nung ano ba yung nauna? Nauna ba yung physical establishment ng Quezon City na 'di ba yung may mga Hudyo na who fled or who were allowed rather to take refuge in the Philippines, no? Para sila yung magtayo ng mga gusali, ng mga kalsada, I suppose. Ano bang nauna? Yung physical establishment of Quezon City or yung legal establishment niya na isinabatas muna siya ng Kongreso? And on that question, what was the process of making Quezon City a Quezon City? Kumbaga, ano pala yan, no? Para po siguro out of curiosity, yung mga city hindi na lang yung biglang tutungtong ka at ay gusto kong gawing lungsod to. 'Di ba? May proseso bago siya maging lungsod, no? I think may iba't ibang mga proseso 'yan. And more than being a city, so una, ano yung proseso niya bago siya maging lungsod? And ano yung proseso niya bago siya maging capital city? Paano tayo nakapag-decide na hoy, sorry. Hey, ito yung gusto nating capital city. So, yun. Ano yung nauna? So, yung physical establishment and yung legal establishment. And then what's the process of making it a city and making it a capital city?
Well, before Quezon City was recognized as a city, Quezon has already been scouring the Philippines for a potential site for this new city na gagawin for this new independent Philippines. So to answer your question, before the legalization, nagko-conceptualize na siya. Before quote-unquote Balintawak or that area of what is now Metro Manila, ang isa sa mga tiningnan nilang lugar na pwedeng paglipatan ng supposedly capital city ay Tagaytay kasi malamig doon.
Okay.
Pero masyadong malayo. Another considerations, I just forgot what particular site, but somewhere in Mindanao. Again, masyadong malayo. So the primary consideration in the establishment of Quezon City where it is right now is primarily its proximity to the current city of Manila. Kasi whether we like it or not, even during that time, Manila is still the economic center of the Philippines during the time and up to the present. So they want to establish a city that's still connected to the economic center. So kumbaga kung may Washington DC, dapat meron pa rin New York City. So there's the economic part and there's the political heart of the country. So before the passage, they've already been looking for areas to transfer the capital. Now, nung na-establish na yung capital legally, kung titignan nyo yung budgeting, nagsisimula na siya even before the passage. So may mga constructions na, may mga engineering sites. If you're going to look at the plan created by the planners, city planners during that time, napaghanda na siya actually. Kaya yung isa sa mga primary planners niya, an American urban planner and architect si Harry T. Frost, at saka si Juan Sumulong. Kung titingnan nyo yung design niya, the initial design of Quezon City ranges from New Manila, around New Manila, going up until kung nasaan yung elliptical ngayon. The idea was to establish the Kapitolyo of the country, the legislative branch, doon sa may kung nasaan yung elliptical ngayon, kung saan nakatirik si Quezon ngayon, yung Quezon Memorial. And the plan was surrounding that elliptical circle yung mga other major institutions of the government, executive, judiciary. In fact, kung nasaan yung Veterans Memorial Medical Center ngayon, that's supposed to be where the Presidential Palace, dun dapat siya ititirik.
Kaya may golf course.
Kaya malawak yung lupang yun. That's supposed to be a presidential site. Pero nung hindi na natuloy yung plano, ginawa na lang nila. Exactly. Golf course, correct. Na ngayon, partially, ginagawa na lang estasyon ng subway. Diba? Kasi kinain ng subway station yon. Anyway, going back to the idea. Tapos kung saan yung Quezon City Hall ngayon, that's supposedly where the Supreme Court, doon dapat siya itatayo.
Okay.
Kaya yung pinaka noteworthy na talaga na-establish doon sa plan nila Harry T. Frost ay yung University of the Philippines. UP yung talagang pinaka nasunod. Everything else parang medyo hindi na siya nasunod. There was an attempt to implement it later on during LP Juquerino's time, pero hindi siya masyadong nasunod. Although naging capital siya by that time ng Pilipinas, hindi na siya masyadong nasunod because of budgetary considerations. Anyway, going back to Quezon's time. So there was an idea, there was already a desire to make Quezon City the capital of the Philippines in consideration that he wanted it to be a well-designed city. Now, with regards to the naming, as you saw in that video, or you heard from that video for our podcast listeners, ang dating kasi dun sa PR, nanggaling kay Quezon, hindi nanggaling sa mga kasama ni Quezon, yung idea na i-name yung city after him. So medyo pa shy pa siya doon. But if you're going to look into what the journalist said during that time, particularly this journalist from the Philippine Free Press, his name is Federico Marcad or Fritz Marcad. He's an American journalist. Actually, he grew up in the Philippines because he was a child of Thomasites, mga nagturo dito sa Pilipinas. And growing up in the Philippines, he grew to love the Philippines. So he worked in the Philippine Free Press. So naging journalist siya. And he followed Quezon. And nakita niya doon sa construction ng Quezon City at pinangalan siyang Quezon City. Medyo na-question niya yun because there were other plans to name that supposed city. Yung iba, nabanggit, Balintawak City. There are others who were considering naming after it dun sa American president during that time, Roosevelt City. But nung chinek ni Federico Marcad, the city building idea of Quezon City was actually, yun yung talagang pagnanasa, yun yung hinahangad ni Quezon. To the point that he wants it to be named after him. In fact, may sinabi si Federico Marcad, wait lang, binubuksan ko lang yung quotes niya kasi ayoko naman masabi nga nag-invento lang ako. May sinabi siya, to quote him from his memoirs in 1943, he said, "To all great men, sooner or later, comes the desire to see their names projected down the corridors of time. Just as Russia named towns, cities, dams, buildings, and highways after Joseph Stalin, like Stalingrad, so did the Philippines acquire Quezon City, a Quezon Bridge, a Quezon Boulevard, etc." Kasi kung titignan niyo yung panahon yun, hindi lang Quezon City. There were other areas that were being named after him. He's starting to question, it's not just Quezon City, bakit ang daming lugar na buhay pa tong panunong to. He made it a point na it's purely a legacy building project. He wants to really leave his mark. In fact, there were some readers who really wrote down, may mga publications yan from 1940 to 1941. During that time, ordinary citizens can write to the Philippine Free Press and express their opinions about it. In one publication in the Philippine Free Press in 1941, a certain Julian Cabañas during that time said, the Philippines is being quote-unquote Quezonized too much. It's Quezon here and Quezon there until one is fairly sick of it. Can our president stop an invasion of the Philippines? If he can, we will gladly name these islands the Quezon Islands. Isa sa kinaiinisan nila Marcad and other like-minded journalists during that time was the Philippines papalapit na yung mga Hapon. Shouldn't we be preparing more, diverting more money instead in Quezon City or all of these infrastructures named after him sa paghahanda sa World War as paparating na digmaan against Japan? Shouldn't we be preparing against the impending Japanese attack? So yun yung mga major issues during that time. So to answer your question, yun yung intention ni Quezon. Pero hindi siya lubusan naging capital kasi dumating yung mga Hapon later on. Madedeklara siya officially as capital nung namatay, after namatay na siya under Elpidio Quirino. The project was subsequently interrupted by the Japanese invasion. Si Quirino na declare na capital yung Pilipinas later on.
So government na ni President Quirino ang nag-declare na maging capital. So that was what? 1950 something.
48.
48. Okay, 1948. Sige. So, yun, no? O nga, no, nabanggit mo yung mga lungsod na Washington, D.C., Stalingrad, di ba? Yung mga cities named after the presidents. And shockingly, this city is named when the president was still alive. Parang binibigyan na siya ng memorial, no? In fact, if I remember right, the Quezon Bridge was designed by Gustave Eiffel, no? If not made by the one who made the Eiffel Tower. So, well, no opinion on that. Parang gano'n, di ba? Pero, so yung pala, no? Sa lahat ng mga plans, yung UP Diliman lang ang nasunod. Nabanggit mo kanina, Sir Jamaico, no? I know wala to sa mga questions natin, pero out of curiosity, nabanggit mo yung Veterans Hospital is supposed to be the Malacanang Palace or the Presidential Palace. And
Correct.
the Quezon City Hall is supposed to be the, what do you call this? The Supreme Court of the Philippines.
Yung lupa niya, yung lugar niya.
Yung lupa na yun. I must ask, saan dapat ang legislature? Kasi technically, yung sa batasan, nasa Quezon City pa rin. So, was that intentionally supposed to be there? And yung Senate, nakahiwalay siya eh. So, was there... No, I know walang Senate dapat kasi nung time na yun, isang Congress lang eh. So, doon ba siya dapat talaga sa batasan?
No, yung batasan, that's more of the expanded plan na implement post-Quirino. Yung
okay.
Dun sa original plan ni Harry Frost, as I mentioned earlier, kung nasaan yung yung libigan ni Quezon ngayon,
hanggang doon lang eh.
Doon sa mismong puso ng circle na yon dapat yung legislative. So,
okay.
doon dapat siya. Tapos, all other areas doon, yung mga spaces between where the executive, judiciary, and presidential palace, doon na gagawin yung mga agencies, mga departments ng kung ano nung mga executives.
Kung ano mga ministries, no, mga departments. Correct. Yun lang. And yung mga projects, no, yung kung sumasakay kayo ng Kamuning, meron dyan yung project for 2 and 3. And balik tayo dun sa ating pinag-uusapan. Na-curious ako eh. May mga nabanggit ka mong mga names eh. So, narinig natin kung paano sinubukan ni Pangulong Quezon na italaga ang Quezon City. Nung pagkapangulo pa lang niya, hinanap niya na kung saan ito ipopesto. And it turns out sa Balintawak nga, or at least dito sa area na to, siya na mailalatag. Some journalists are already complaining na, and some people are already complaining na there's a threat of war, which happened, diba? There's a threat of war, and instead of preparing for militarization, the president is doing his best to instead and make his legacy endure, no? Despite of that, naging capital city ang Quezon City at around late 1940s.
1948.
1948, 'di ba? Pero ngayon alam natin na hindi na siya ang capital city of the Philippines. So, of course, the ultimate question is kailan siya nahinto sa pagiging capital city. Pero more than that, what have been the challenges, one, of making Quezon City the capital city, two, of maintaining it as capital city, and three, eventually of making sure that it remains capital city, or it extinguishes from being capital city. So, ano yun? Yung paggawa, yung pag-maintain, tsaka yung eventual na downfall ng pagiging capital city. So, ano yung mga challenges na kinaharap ng ating ng lungsod Quezon?
Post-war, medyo nasa advantage ng Quezon City yung capital building because Manila was in ruins during that time. And one of the primary reasons why Quirino established that law, Republic Act 333 of 1948, is to transfer our agencies to Quezon City other than fulfilling the dreams of Quezon, more so to rise up from the ashes of war. And some of the department or some of the agencies did transfer here. And later on, mag-expand yung plan to the point na from the original Harity Frost plan, nag-expand siya up until where Batasan is right now.
Okay.
Kaya yung Batasan ngayon, doon talaga yung original area. Yun yung parang secondary place kung saan ilalagay yung legislative na natupad naman. If you're going to look into the idea during that time, sira-sira yung mga buildings, they have to revive themselves. The idea to transfer to Quezon City is partially naging effective siya three ways. First, residential. As I mentioned, the residential building encouraging government employees and middle-class people to transfer to Quezon City, the capital, was successful. Projects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Pilam Homes, one of the first middle-class villages during that time, na-established doon. So, nagpo-populate siya, number 1. Number 2, educational institutions transferred from Manila to Quezon City. Ateneo de Manila is the most noteworthy. Nag-transfer doon. But other institutions transferred to Quezon City like the Marinol Sisters, which later on became Miriam, and St. Joe. Lumipat siya doon sa Quezon City. So, maraming mga educational institutions na transfer sa Quezon City. So, first residential, second educational, third commercial. Cubao. Cubao became a commercial hub during that time with the help of the Aranetas, who established Cubao as an economic hub for Quezon City. Kung wala kayong mahanap or nahirapan kayo mag-establish ng economic center sa Maynila, our alternative is to go here. Go here in Araneta, go here in Cubao, mag-establish kayo ng commerce dito and we're gonna help you. That's why one of the primary investments of the Aranetas later on down the line was Araneta Center. Tsaka yung Araneta Coliseum. Kaya nag-flourish siya economically. So, more or less, nasusunod yung plan. Unti-unti nag-sprung up from post-war. People were being driven out of Manila going to Quezon City to restart their lives. The problem started doon sa government side. Establishing ministries, government agencies, etc. Yes, nagkaroon ng Department of Agriculture. Yes, may mga ministries na nag-establish doon. But some of the other establishments cannot transfer because of a lack of finance, a lack of funding, or people didn't really go about into it. Say, for example, the legislative, which was back then, nasa national, kung nasaan yung National Museum ngayon, they never really had an intention to transfer to Quezon City. Same with Malacanang. So, kulang sa pera or wala silang gana, yung ibang mga tao, yung ibang mga officers doon during that time, they never really had the desire to transfer to Quezon City. And during that time, internationally, kahit dineclare ni Quirino na capital yung Quezon City, if you're going to go to the books, if you're going to look into the maps, by sabihin natin, 1950s, kahit dineclare na ni Quezon na capital yung Quezon City, laging sinasabi ng mga foreigners, the center of the Philippines is the city of Manila. So, in terms of international PR, nahirapan sila. So, later on, by 1976, medyo naglalanguish na si Quezon City. Medyo mabagal yung kanyang growth. In fact, by that time, medyo nagsisimula na yung mga kidnapping and carnapping sa residential areas. Dahil residential area siya, malayo siya sa quote-unquote mga police stations sa Manila, minsan sila yung tina-target ng criminality. So, that's number one. Number two, some of the major economic businesses were still in Ermita. So, bagamat may mga economic centers na nasa Cubao, the major businesses are still in Manila. If not Manila, they're not transferring to Quezon City. They're transferring to Makati, where the Ayalas were already establishing a center there. So, Quezon City was already experiencing competition. With that being said, noong 1976, Marcos realized internationally, recognized nila yung Manila as the center of the Philippines. Tapos parang ang bagal ng pag-grow ng Quezon City. Ang hirap yung pag-establish ng Quezon City as capital. Let's just make Manila as the capital. Given the fact na internationally known naman siya, nandito rin naman yung Malacanang, nandito rin naman yung legislative, let's just make Manila as the capital of the Philippines. But, yung caveat niya, I'm gonna make a law later on to establish the Metropolitan Manila area para masabi natin ma-absorb tong Quezon City, Makati area, etc.
Part pa rin ng capital.
Part pa rin siya ng capital. Correct. So that's the evolution of the idea of capital of Quezon City. Namatay siya in 1976, pero it being part of Metro Manila is part of Quezon City being quote-unquote absorbed by the city of Manila. So yun yung evolution niya, yung shortcut story niya. May mga complications pa yan.
1976, nabanggit mo in-establish government ni Pangulong Marcos Sr., ng unang Pangulong Marcos, na ang binalik nila ang pagiging kapitolyo ng Manila from Quezon City, and then later on nagkaroon naman ng batas na nagkaroon ng establishing the Metro Manila. So may batas na inabolish niyo yung Quezon City.
During that time, di ba, walang legislative body, more of presidential decree siya. So, ang nangyari around, I think it's presidential decree 824, nung in-establish niya yung Metro Manila, wherein buo dapat na bahagi ng Metro Manila yung Quezon City, Makati, the City of Manila, etc. Tapos, by, I think, Presidential Decree 1960, officially yung City of Manila, siya yung dineclare niyang capital of the Philippines. Yung main campaign kasi during that time ni Imelda Marcos, being the Minister of Human Settlements and governess of Metro
Manila.
In part of their vision of the new society or bagong lipunan, kinailangan nila ng bagong konsepto ng syudad, a city of man, a city for man talaga, not a city for the elite. Ang naging consideration din kasi ni Marcos noon, gusto nilang kalimutan yung lumang lipunan, the old society. And part of that is to remove the ideas or legacies of Quezon and to accept the new ideas of Marcos, which is the new society. Instead of Quezon City being the capital, Metro Manila should be the capital, with the City of Manila as the heart of that capital.
So Metro Manila as the bigger capital.
Correct.
Correct. Parang hindi lang lungsod, probinsya, no, yung buong, hindi mo province, pero buong area, larger area, yung capital ng Pilipinas. So,
yes,
yun ang kanyang lifespan. From Republic Act 333 to Presidential Decree 960. Oh, grabe pala yung, medyo matagal-tagal din pala, 1948 to 1976, no? Ilang taon din yun, halos around 30 years din, more or less, no? Kung hindi nagkakamali ng aking math, 30 years din ang kanyang span. So, yun pala, napakaraming challenges pala, no? Financially sa gobyerno, tapos yung iba sa kanila ayaw magsikilos. Wow, some things never change. So, well, I digress, no? So, eto na siguro yung sa'yo, yung mga tanungan natin kanina, Sir Jamaico, academic. Diba?
Mr. Let me correct myself. It's not 960, it's 940. I double check.
940, okay.
Presidential Decree 940. My mistake, my bad, sorry.
No worries. Okay, so, mga katoto, ano po yan, So, yun po yung aming guarantee sa inyo na along the way, kahit on the spot, di ba? Pagka may hindi kami sigurado, bigla naming i-check para sa inyo dahil dito ay pawang katotohanan lamang. So, mabalik tayo dun sa tanong natin. No? So, yung kanina sabi ko nga, academic yung mga tanong ko, no? Na from start to finish. Pero eto siguro yung hihingin ko sa inyo, yung sa huling katanungan ko para sa inyo, bilang kayo ay nagtuturo ng Araling Panlipunan at ito ang inyong isa sa inyong mga expertise, no, yung pagiging capital city ng Quezon City. So, more of your opinion, dapat ba na nanatiling kapitolyo ng Pilipinas ang Quezon City? Bakit? Bakit?
If you'll ask me for really serious with city building and urban planning, yes. Our propensity to not follow through with our plans is a sickness. Sakit natin mga Pilipino yon. Alam mo, kung titingnan mo yung mga plano ni Harry T. Frost at ni Juan Arellano, ang ganda! Ang ganda ng mga buildings, ang ganda ng mga disenyo. In fact, by the 1970s, talahibang pa yung kahabaan ng Commonwealth eh. pwede pang gawa ng paraan yun eh. But we abandoned it. Look what happened now. Tingnan mo yung kabahan ng Commonwealth. It's a hodgepodge of commercial center, informal settler, villages na hindi mo maintindihan. Ano nangyayari? Tingnan mo yung Commonwealth, kapag rush hour, punong-puno siya ng kung ano ng mga kotse at motorsiklo, etc. If we followed through with our plans properly and implemented it properly, perhaps we could have a better transportation system. Kasi dinisenyo yung urban planning in consideration of the population, distribution of economic centers, educational institutions, etc. Para hindi masyado tayo magkakaproblema sa transportation from point A to point B. Because may sakit nga tayo na hindi tayo nagpo-follow through. Tingnan mo lang yung Commonwealth ng mga 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Yan ang outcome ng hindi natin pagsunod. So to answer your question, we should have. Unfortunately, may sakit tayo.
We should have remained, no, para and besides, no, it's a growing city. I think the common joke nga, despite na Quezon City is not the, ito po may mga nakikita akong post sa social media, no. Let us just correct. Quezon City is not the biggest city in the Philippines, no. I've checked 2 hours ago kasi magkakaroon ng episode na ito. Baka may magsabi, largest city in the Philippines. No, hindi po. In fact, Cebu is larger by 100 more. I think Cebu's land space is around 200 square meters. But hindi square meters. Ang liit ng 200 square meters, parang house and lot lang yun, no? Pero square kilometers, basta ganun. Pero Quezon City is just around 140 something square kilometers. But despite that, no, it's a growing city. In fact, the common joke is 3 hours ang biyahe from Quezon City to Quezon City. And that reflects, no, that the problem. Sinasalamin niya nga yung problema na all this traffic, all these transportation crisis, no, yung mga kakaibang eskenita, di ba? Minsan may mga weird na shortcut na daanan sa Quezon City na it is an effect of not of poor urban planning, as Mr. Sir Jamaico said, no. There is an excellent urban plan. The problem was this excellent urban plan was not executed. And actually, if I were to answer that question, I don't think it matters, no. I don't think it matters. What matters probably is kung nasunod sana yung mga plano. Kasi kahit naman inilipat sa Manila kahit naman inirevert ng unang Pangulong Marcos ang Quezon City ang pagiging capital city from Quezon City to Manila, the problems are the same problems that we have had, no? Yung problema noon, problema ngayon, and ay sana'y wag naman, pero kung hindi natin naayusin, baka maging problema pa rin sa hinaharap, no? So, Sir Jamaico, any last points for our listeners about this Quezon City game episode that we have?
Actually, there's still remnants of the plans. UP Diliman, just compare the wide avenues of Quezon Avenue or elliptical. May disenyo naman siya compared dun sa mga maliliit na eskenita ng Manila, di ba? Or yung mga punta ka ng halimbawa Mandaluyong. May disenyo siya, maganda siya. And the remnants of the original plans for Quezon City is a sad reminder that we had potential of making our city work. Perhaps we can still make it work, but that would require a lot of planning, a lot of political will, and a lot of collaboration, hindi lang sa gobyerno, pero kasama din dapat yung taong bayan. Pero mostly sa gobyerno dapat may political will. Nawala yung political will, kaya hindi siya nasunod. So hopefully, if you want to make the city or the metropolitan area of Manila better, like the city of Manila and Quezon City, I think we should all fight for a better plan, a better urban plan, so that we can have a better life at hindi tayo nakatenga sa traffic sa kalagitnaan ng EDSA.
So, thank you, Sir Jamaica, sa inyong wrap-up point na yon, no? And I agree, no? Dapat magkaroon more than the planning, more than the budgeting, yung kagustuhan both of our government and of the people to execute the plans, to cooperate with those plans, to make sure that the plans are well executed. Hindi lang executed, well executed, na walang korupsyon na nangyayari, walang dayaan na nangyayari, at everything is clean and everything is smooth para ma-execute yung mga maayos na plano. I would rather have a country run like hell by Filipinos than a country run like heaven by the Americans. Because however a bad Filipino government might be, we can always change it. Ito po ay isang napaka sikat na kataga na binitawan ni Pangulong Quezon sa isa niyang mga talumpati when he was trying to convince the Americans to help in aiding the world against the enemies of world war. A Philippines free from foreign rules and foreign rulers. This was the vision unto which Quezon City was founded. A city chosen by Filipinos, chartered by Filipinos, and ratified by Filipinos to be their capital city. It is a city that represents the dreams, ideals, and aspirations of the Filipino people. Just as it represented what the Filipinos are and what the Filipinos can become in the past, we hope it continues to shine as a beacon of hope for every single Filipino anywhere in the present and in the future. Maraming salamat po, Sir Jamaica, sa inyong pagpapaunlak sa imbitasyon natin at maraming salamat sa ating mga katoto sa pakikinig ngayong araw. Sana po ay meron kayong natutunan sa araw na ito. Muli, ako po ang inyong lingkod, si Kevin Samson, at ito ang History, ang katotohanan sa ating kasaysayan at lipunan. Paalam mga katoto!
Paalam, thank you very much.
Bye-bye!